Hey guys, welcome back to Agents After Hours. Today we have a special episode. We're going to talk to you all about all the best places to which you can make money in real estate. From buying, flipping, wholesaling, listing, sellers, etc. There are tons of facets you can get to. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the obvious stuff up first, if you're a regular real estate agent, you're going to think, well, if I work with buyers, if I work with sellers, you make money there. That is true. You make money there. But there are many, many other things you can do in real estate that also make money. I'll give you one example. I had a gentleman on my team who was on our team. He was an ISA, which is an inside sales associate. Now, he was very, very, very bad at dealing with people in a long-term transaction, but he was gifted at getting the door open. He was... I don't know if it was I couldn't even tell you. He could be very manipulative. I'm not sure. He was very good at getting the door open. But the problem was once he got past that first conversation, it was all downhill. But the point is you can make good money being that person. If you are the person who can get the door open and you can start the transaction, start the conversation for the person who can get in there and do all the rest of the fulfillment, close the deal, that you can make good money being that guy. You are an assassin if you can get the door open. But if you're bad at everything else, you're never going to make a penny. And I've seen a lot of agents not understand that specialization is the best way to really get good at one thing in real estate. So that's mine. What do you got?
It's funny to me because when I got my real estate license, I was under the assumption that all you can do and make money in real estate is sell and buy.
List property.
That's it.
List property.
You know, that's your job. Your license gives you a license to sell and buy. So for the longest time, that's all I knew. That's all I was good at. And then I got introduced to flipping, right? And I got introduced to flipping by the wrong person at the wrong time for all the wrong reasons.
Best education you ever got.
For all the wrong reasons, right? And when I got introduced to flipping, I didn't like it. Like it felt bad. Like I was taking advantage of the person, right? That's the way they taught it to me.
Yeah.
And then after flipping my first deal, I got into another property. I got into escrow. And I got approached by another agent and he goes, hey, how much for you to assign the deal? And I was like, assign it? What do you mean assign it? Like, how does that work? That to me was mind boggling. I literally had a paper contract, strike price at this amount, and I was able to assign it for this amount. And that middle part was my money. And I was like, holy shit, are you kidding me?
Wait, this part in the middle. I can leave right now. That's mine.
So
I'm walking backwards.
man,
This is my money?
It was insane to me, right? Like I was thinking to myself, I was like, wait a minute, I could do this all the time.
And
like,
so you just give me a check and I leave.
Dude, the transaction closed and I was thinking that check was going to bounce. I was like, there has to be a catch. Someone's going to come out of the woodwork.
I cash your check.
Brian's favorite.
It was funny. Dude, it was.
But
it's
for
crazy.
that, for the assignment, I mean, you obviously that you couldn't be a new agent. You had a network of buyers which you could connect it to. You found the property at a discounted price.
Yes.
You found a seller that was willing to take a lower price and was willing to accept that price. And you knew how to handle that transaction, the paperwork and all that kind of stuff. So those are the important parts of assignment or wholesale.
Correct. Well, let's take it a step back.
Yep.
Aside from listing and selling, then there's also leases, right? Mm-hmm. Because I was not aware that we can actually list properties that you can put them up for lease. Right, I thought those were different agents.
I don't want to do them, but
No,
yeah,
not really.
I didn't.
Not that much money in them, and
There's clients that I rely on for long-term relationships.
Well, look, yes, that's exactly 100%.
Although to be fair, I am signing a 10-year lease for a restaurant here soon, and those obviously have
lucrative.
Very different.
Again,
scenario.
different scenarios. But again, I got my biggest listing out of a lease, right? And the thing about it was, I was not aware that as a licensed realtor, I can actually do leases. I could do options. I could do so many variations, right?
Property management. When you start out, I think leases are important for new agents because you will get a lot of leases.
Hell of a lot of experience.
A lot of young people, but also people leasing out their property, and that's how you build relationships with people. So I think it is important. None of us will probably we'll work with a lease person that's looking for a $2,000 lease right now, because
if it's a long-term client that's referrals, yes, 100%.
I mean, that's
right?
going to be,
you pick and choose.
Yeah.
It's not the avenue I want to cannonball into right now.
Right.
But I think as a brand new agent, you're going to get a big amount of opportunities. Now, how you manage that business, right? I took those leases, and everybody I put on a lease, I had a conversation with them. What's your exit strategy? When are you going to buy? Let's get on a plan to fix your credit, save up some money, bring up that down payment, and in 5 years from now, 3 years from now, whatever the situation is, I always told myself, and it was funny because back in those days, I never thought it was a very powerful statement, but I always said, I'm always going to be in real estate. So let's make sure that we have you ready and we're in constant communication, hold ourselves accountable, build up that book of business.
That was a smart way to do it.
Yeah, well, that's the way you got to build up your business. But again, it's the network of who you have around you, right? So aside from listing and selling, right, representing a buyer, representing a seller, there's commercial real estate, right? And then your network, you get to talk to people and they're like, hey, I have this building I want to sell. Would you sell it? I always thought that there was a special sector of realtors that only did commercial, which there is, but their license is no different than ours.
Correct.
Right? So I never knew I could do commercial real estate. That's another avenue of business that I could tap into. Then I got introduced to property management, which again, you got to talk to your broker and make sure that the broker is approved to be able to have the insurances and everything available for it. Right. Passive income there, right? You're building up another portfolio. These are all tenants that now you have direct access to. You have their credit, you have their income, you have all their avenues of business.
And all the owners too.
And all the owners.
Just in case whenever they want to sell or 1031 exchange into another property.
Property management, you property manage the property correctly.
Yep.
You have two avenues of business right there.
Yep.
The potential sell of the asset or the potential 1031 exchange or the potential ability to actually show the investor how to capitalize on their rents increasing, making more money off of it and transferring that money into something else that produces more money out of it, so on and so forth. Aside from the property management, then there was the assignments of the contracts, right? Lease options to buys, right? And then the biggest one, investing myself, right? I know a shit ton of realtors that don't have their own house, right? They don't invest. They don't have their own properties. They don't have any assets. But the craziest part about it was we're very knowledgeable in knowing how to distinguish a good investment.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about us, right?
Yeah.
Not the whole entire real estate industry.
You should. I mean, if you've been an agent for at least 3 years or 5 years and you've worked with investors, you should be able to look at a property and be able to see this is the income, this is the expenses, this is how much money it's making, this is how much I have to invest into it, and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But the beautiful part about the investment side, I think for myself, was understanding that there's different categories of investors. Yep. Investors that only chase equitable growth and they're okay with losing $500, $600 a month on the rents. There's investors that want the cash flow. There are investors that want the upside potential.
Well, and to be fair, there's also different seasons to each one of those investments. So like, we're not looking for long-term, we're not looking for equity increases on rental property here, but we're looking on equity increases on flips here and long-term value of cash flow in other properties out of state. So
every market has its own.
Yeah.
Oh man, the beauty of it, right? The conversations.
But sorry, I don't think you know this yet. Did you tell him yet about the values?
The property values?
Well, he was on the call.
Yeah, I was on the call. Yeah.
Dang, I can't hear you were there.
Well, the reason I was bringing that up is because we're looking at investments. Our real estate license here in California.
Let me just throw in real quick before we move on that all these different avenues. They apply for new agents too, because it sounds like only experienced agents, but if you're a new agent, you can tap into any one of these if you're partnering with the right person
we teach
and the right
everybody
brokerage
stuff.
And you can do it without money. So for example, if you find a flip, and it all starts from finding the opportunity. If you talk to the owner, you talk to the seller, and you find a discounted property, all these avenues open up to you. And if you're in the right brokerage, you're in the right team, you can connect the right avenue to the right property, and you can make money. A lot more money a lot of the time than listing the property.
Yes.
If you're finding the property at a discount, you can wholesale it. And you don't. What my point with all this is that you don't need money.
Well, that was my biggest hindering. And sorry, not to cut you off.
You're good.
The reason I never did flips was because I thought I had to have all the money.
Right.
It was my biggest holdback.
Yep.
And my biggest eye opener was when I met a big investor and a big flipper that does a crap ton of deals, and I'm sitting, man, this guy must be sitting on a couple $1 million in his account to do all these things. And then he sits down and he talks to me and he goes, Red, the biggest thing that you have to understand when it comes down to flipping is don't worry about the money. Worry about the deal. The hardest thing to do in flipping is finding the damn deal. knowing that the deal is valuable enough to be able to make sure that the money is attainable when you go out and talk to investors, talk to funders, either crowdfund yourself, or finding the money is the easiest part. Finding the deal was the hardest part.
Yeah.
And I had the opposite part. I was finding all the deals, with my Post-it notes and everything else, like just finding deals, having people come across. I'm the type of person where I'm driving around, and as a realtor, most of the times realtors, when they have a buyer in their car, which I think is the dumbest thing that you can do as a realtor, when they have a buyer in their car, they're driving to show them properties, and they're not analyzing the neighborhood that they're driving into. Mm-hmm. They're not opening their eyes to seeing the opportunities. You know what the value of the neighborhood is. You're going to sell a house in the damn neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So if you're driving in there and you're going in there and you're seeing a house with a blue tarp on the roof, junk cars in the front, grass weeds all the way to the top.
We get excited about those houses.
Oh, awesome.
Every agent, if you're in real estate, that should excite you 100 times over. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Those are the ugly ducklies. And those are the properties that, I'm driving around, oh man, hoarder houses are the best. Right? Hoarder houses are the best.
Go to our Instagram page. We got some walkthroughs. They are sickening.
I started doing that where one of my biggest things was I do not put buyers in my cars. Right? For liability purposes that I learned after dealing with the right people and the right brokerages, number one. And number two, it gives me the opportunity where I don't have to entertain anybody in my damn car. If you have people sitting in your car and driving around, you have conversations, which again, you open up the opportunity of talking people out of purchasing if you're in them with a long drive and they get scared of any kind of topic of conversation that you may have, right? So I'm sitting in the car and I'm driving into these neighborhoods and I'm taking pictures. I'm looking at every freaking house that I'm driving right into, the house that we're going to go drive to. I don't care. There's coaches that tell you, oh, map out your day, make it a sequential line to go from one house to the next. I don't give a shit. I'm going to go whatever house is available and I'm going to drive around to each property that I'm going to show. I'm not an Uber driver, but I also know that I'm also driving for dollars. I'm going out there and I'm looking at opportunities everywhere I'm driving.
And you're using that trick, the Post-it note trick.
Oh, man, I come
Tell
back.
them about your Post-it note trick.
Oh, yeah, it's simple. I come back to the house and I have Post-its in my truck. And in those Post-its, I write simply, I'm interested in your property. Give me a call. Red. Put my phone number down, post it on their door, post it on their car.
It's vague enough, but specific enough that you get the call. They might not be interested in, talking to a real estate agent, but you're vague enough.
But it's on their mind somewhere.
It's handwritten. It's on the door. People are gonna call you, and you have that opportunity to turn that into something.
It's an awkward conversation that I've had a couple times when I walk up to them and I say, "Hey, your house looks like shit. Are you interested in selling it?" I don't use those words particularly, but it doesn't matter how
more
nice.
Impressed if you said that.
Yeah, but
like a little emoji.
How else do you tell somebody I'm interested in your property because it looks like the ugliest house in the neighborhood, right?
Right.
So there's no nice way of saying it, but it's better and it's easier. At least I've had that experience. That it's easier to have that conversation over the phone, and it's like people bring their guards down. I don't introduce myself as a realtor, but everywhere I drive, the minute I'm done showing properties, I have every house that I took a picture on my phone, and I drive right back. Put the Post-it on the house, then go back to the office.
Yeah, you take a picture with your iPhone, and it saves geolocates where the picture is located, and you can go exactly back to that spot. Yep. That's very smart. Yeah.
Aside from the fact, I already have a list of the properties that I showed. Yeah. So I know the neighborhoods I'm going into. I know the values of the neighborhoods I'm going into. So it makes it easier for us to be able to do reverse math and say, if I get this property.
Done enough of it, you know what the round numbers are.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You know what you're offering in round numbers, give or pennies. Even when we do construction renovation, we just set the number at that size. Oh, it's going to be that number. It's going to be in there somewhere. Like, it's close enough.
Again, with my real estate license, I was able to go into neighborhoods, and if I saw construction, I got off. Walked into the construction site and say, hey, who's the foreman? Who's the contractor? I want to talk to him. I want to see, hey, can you show me what you guys are doing? I'm going to sell property in this area. What value add are you going to do? Is this house going to be for sale? And just get simple information, get knowledge, right? Yeah. Because we're in the industry of real estate. So understand how much it costs to do kitchens, how much it costs to do flooring, stucco in the house, windows.
Or have a good contractor or somebody that you work with.
Reliability.
That can come out and price that stuff out.
But you build up the rapport that way, right?
For sure.
So in the industry that you're in, I kept building up the levels of business that we've done, which again has gotten us to this point, at least for myself, with you guys, in investing out of state now. Because your real estate license gives you the opportunity, at least with KW, to have an ample network where we can actually talk to agents in every state across the United States. Now, even internationally,
Yeah.
Right. So we can actually have conversations. Hey, how is your market? What's the market doing over there? What opportunities is there? What opportunities are there? What investment options are there?
And that's a good transition to raising money. So I mean, we've been talking about things for like wholesaling assignments where you don't need any money, but obviously another avenue, if you don't have any money, you can raise money. You can raise money from your network, friends, family, whatever it is, 50,000, 100,000. You got a rich uncle who's got $1 million sitting in his bank and a CD and is not making him any money. Perfect avenue to take that money and invest it in something that can make 8, 10, 12%. Plus you can share profit with them. It's so syndications. I mean, that's something that we're working on right now.
Before you do that,
Yeah.
partner up with someone that knows how to do it. Don't get yourself in trouble. Don't overpromise. Don't say the things that can get you into lawsuits. Partner up.
A lot of legal
documents that have to go into play. But again, these are things that you obviously grow, right? You evolve your business into it. Real estate is an opportunity where if you only stick to selling and buying, that's going to get very mundane and redundant, and you're not going to see a catapult or a big grow, right?
Right.
And you have to make sure that you analyze every opportunity the way it best suits. Now, when I go to listing appointments, I'm not only going to the listing appointment and seeing if that's a good option for the seller. I'm going in there with my investment opportunity. I'm going in there as an option to obviously assign the transaction. There's so many avenues that you can look at when you're actually walking up to a property and you understand that your real estate license gives you so many avenues of business.
It makes you so much more powerful when you're sitting down with the seller. Like, do you need this house sold in 2 weeks? Okay, I have an option for you. I can connect you with a cash investor and who can get you an offer on this property, and you can be out in 2 weeks. Do you want to partner with somebody like a stager or somebody to come in, and we can pay up out of escrow your staging fees or whatever, and we can fix up the property and get you even higher than retail price. That's an option.
Well, I'll tell you what, because we have the fund that we use, but every one of our agents that we've had, we tell everyone, just bring the deal to us. We will give you an offer. Your seller doesn't have to take that offer. But it's a phenomenal icebreaker because you are fulfilling the obligation of saying, I have a client who's in your property. I can get you a cash offer.
Have a
by
buyer.
the end of the day tomorrow.
And you're not lying.
You're not lying. Dude, good point. Okay, for anybody listening, do not call expired listings saying you have a buyer thinking you're going to walk on their property, trick them into signing a listing. It will never happen.
Nope.
Just stop doing it. They're coaching on this stuff. Don't do it. But if you do have an investor who will give you a cash offer, say at any price, or I'm sorry, every property sells at some price, right? To an investor, somebody said, different people say, do you have a buyer for something in orange? I say, depends on the price. I do at the price. I mean, but if you're going to tell me it's $2 million for a $1 million property, well, then no. But at a price, everything sells. Point is, if you walk into a meeting and say, I will get you a cash offer tomorrow as an option, you don't have to take it, but at least you'll know where a base is for somebody saying, I'll take it off the market today. Beyond that, I'll show you what the numbers look like on the market and a couple of different options. You choose whichever is best for you. Like if you put them in the driver's seat as choice, but you give them the choices that you know you can fulfill, that is a much happier client. They're going to be able to say, okay, this is my future. I can do this thing. And so each one of the agents that we've worked with in our office, we have 3 or 4 under contract with them now, but there's also 3 or 4 that they went and got other offers.
Yeah.
Right.
And they used our offer. And they used our offer to leverage those offers, which we coached them to do. We said, we just had one where a property wasn't that valuable to us. It needed a lot more work for what we saw we needed to do to it from a design perspective. Gave him an honest offer and said, listen, this is the offer we can do. But look, if this doesn't work for you, please just use this as fodder for what you guys are trying to do. Leverage it. They leveraged it and they got a higher offer. And they actually said, thank you for supporting us and the agent. Thank you for supporting this listing, man. I said, no problem. Listen, if it doesn't work out with us, keep us in backup position. Anything happens, we're still around. But please, absolutely move forward successfully. We got your back. Like, you don't have to worry about that stuff. We know what our numbers are. We know what we can't do. And sometimes, by the way, our number crushes the market because we know what the things are worth to us.
Yes.
And that will always be the math for us. And you can do that too.
Another avenue that I've actually been able to do a couple times already in my career is if I sit down with the person that needs to sell their property, they're not in a rush. They want to capitalize on it. There's upside potential. I offer them the opportunity to invest into their house, remodel it, with obviously strict guidelines, with strict contracts, with a power to sell, all those things to protect myself in my investment. And then we have a shared equity aside from my commission. Right. So again, knowledge of expertise and time.
Yeah. You gave them a line of credit on their own house.
Yep.
And you became a bank.
Yep. Became a bank.
Very good interest rate to you and very beneficial to them.
Yep. And they were a quick exit strategy. They were able to make, I think on the last one that I just did, I doubled up my investment and I was able to make them $125,000 more on their side.
Win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation for everybody. It's very transparent. Instead of just being an agent that's greedy about making my own commission and putting it up on the market and seeing what it sells for, the guy had offers, and he had offers at almost $150,000, $175,000 less than what we got it for once it was all fixed up.
To point on that, though, this is kind of the same thing, being involved with teams like ours where you don't actually have to be that guy either. Red's just saying this is because he had the money.
Yep.
The company has the money. If there's a deal, worry about the property, not the deal. Worry about the property. You got a property that needs renovation, but it's worth 25% more than what you started with, and it's $40,000, $50,000 to do that work. You have a property. The deal can be put together, especially you have a network of people who can do that deal.
But it goes back to the statement of don't worry about the money, worry about finding the deals, right? The money is easy to find. As cliche as that sounds, when there's opportunities, there's a good amount of people that we can call, and there's opportunities to make money.
If it's a true deal and you have the proper network to help you with that deal, then you have an opportunity.
Second for that, I'd say don't worry about what you know right now. Worry about what you can learn. Education is everything. If you can learn there were so many ways to make money in real estate. Benefit is to be around people who do have their hand in a lot of those pies. I mean, we do a bunch of stuff in different states all over the country. We advise, we coach, we consult. I mean, we talk about this stuff on a daily basis I can't tell you how many conversations I have with not only my network, but my clients, on the people who come to me through social media, through our classes, a conversation every day about what they think is a very unique, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that is. Like,
but we also travel too.
Well,
we travel, we go places. We're always consistently learning. We're tapping into different networks. We're not shy about being the dumbest person in the room as long as the information there is valuable.
Yeah.
Right. We're willing to tap into. We're willing to learn. We're willing to grow. And which again, it transitions us to the point of where we're at right now, about to close on 40
unit single.
Not even 40 unit. It's a 40.
Technically, 71 is divided into two.
Yeah, 40 single family properties, all 3-bedroom in St. Louis, Missouri. But yeah, through
Section 8.
Yeah,
all of them.
They're not Section 8.
They're not
yet,
Section 8
yeah,
yet.
That's going to be our value add. Is what we're going to do. Is we're going to step in there and take the market rents of the tenants who are in there, and basically bring them up all to market rent Section 8 rents. Currently, they're at about $1,000 to $1,200. But if we can get them up to Section 8 for a 3-bedroom in St. Louis, Missouri, that rate is going to be $1,565. So, I mean, increasing $500, almost 35% on the rents is going to be absolutely amazing for our investor, who are promising a preferred return to.
And safety, because it's paid by the government.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
paid on the first.
Again, it comes down to the years of experience, the years of being able to think outside the box, the network we've been able to create, the opportunities that we jump at, and make sure that even if it's a glimpse of an option that makes sense, we're not shy to be able to actually invest the time. That's where I think a lot of people falter in this industry when it comes down to having a real estate license. They stick to the very mundane part where it's just listing and selling. And that's it. You just want to make sure that you have the nicest listings out there. You want to make sure that you have the best buyers that are qualified, A+ paper, yada, yada, yada. They don't network. They don't think outside of the box. They don't want to invest their time.
Get dirty.
The sweat equity that you got to put into understanding the laws, the restrictions, the value into having these conversations. Having a real estate license is your ticket to being able to sit in front of people that are billionaires, right? And there's no other opportunity that you're going to have, or no other industry that's going to give you the access to these people, because of the simple fact that you create options for them. A lot of these people want to invest. A lot of these people want to know that real estate is one of the key elements to be able to grow a vast majority of your network.
Create a legacy, you could say.
Oh, yeah. A huge legacy.
Hey,
shameless plug. But again, I think it's for all three of us, it was at the right pivotal time to think about how we can actually have sustainable financial income passive coming in, and how can we invest our driving knowledge and force into making that achievable and accomplishable in a short period of time.
We all read the Purple Book, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh man, that book was it's a very powerful book. I mean, there's a lot of books I think that we've all read.
That one for me was kind of the mind shift that kind of like, hey, I can work for an hourly wage. I can even make, 300, 500 grand a year, but I'm always going to be working for somebody else. I can always lose that job. I can always, just be an absolute waste everything away if I lose that opportunity. Or I can create multiple streams of income for myself, businesses, real estate. There, I can take a trip for 3 months and it's still coming in. That was the pivotal moment where I was like, hey, I need to start buying income producing properties. I need to start buying businesses. And when I got to the point when I actually was in the position of I had an $80,000 or $100,000 check coming in, and I could say, should I buy a nice Ferrari or a Lambo for myself, or flash around town and then waste the money, or should I buy this business that now 2-3 years later is generating me $6,000 a month in passive income.
And I think that's the hardest part, right? Because we work so hard for the money that when it comes in those big chunks, you want to reward yourself in certain ways.
But I thought of that too. And I like, but then if I don't buy the business, I buy real estate. And now I know things like cost segregation and accelerated depreciation. Do I give the money straight back to the IRS after I make the $100,000 check? I would have had to cut them a check for 50 grand or 40 grand or whatever it is.
Yeah, man.
Now I took that 100 grand and I bought a 4-unit apartment building that's generating $5 grand a month, minus obviously mortgage, property taxes, insurance. It's only initially made me maybe $1,000 or $1,500, but 3-4 years later, now that property is making me $2,000-$3,000 a month. Plus, I didn't have to pay my taxes in that year.
Correct.
Yeah.
But again, it goes down to the knowledge, right?
Yeah.
It goes down to
Yeah.
and I think it goes back to the fundamentals of having a real estate license. There's so many ways to make yourself so much money because the money comes in good loads, at least here in California. California, we're very, I don't want to say the word lucky, but we're very spoiled. We're very blessed as realtors where we can have transactions that can equate to 6-7 figure incomes in a couple months. The sad part is most realtors don't know what to do with it. Most realtors don't know how to invest it, how to make passive income, how to plan for their future.
And most brokerages don't teach any of this.
None of this.
Yeah.
None of these brokerages. I mean,
Teach you how to buy a watch. Teach you how to buy a Lambo.
They teach you exactly. They teach you how to wear the nice suit, the nice tie, buy the name brand stuff that you cannot deduct on your taxes because obviously it's not a business expense. But guess what? You're showing everybody that you're successful, right? And to me, it was funny because as I've gotten older and wiser in this industry, I used to think that, these agents that were uber successful are always wearing suits, ties, driving up to their houses in Mercedes, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I used to have all those shits. I used to have all that crap.
Yep.
I used to have the Mercedes. I have a ton of sport
everywhere.
And it's funny to me because now I've gone up to listing appointments where the agent that walks in is like suited from top to bottom, driving a new BMW or a brand new Mercedes. And I'm pulling up the way I'm dressed right now with the hat, my truck, and just going in there and just actually dropping knowledge, being a customer service based agent, right?
Yep.
Not going in there and showing off, oh, I can do this. I've sold these many houses. I've made this much money. I've done this many transactions in this area. It's like, how can I serve you? What do you necessarily need?
Right.
How can my experiences, my knowledge, and here's the people that I've been able to help? Because it's easy for somebody to gloat about themselves, but it's harder for you to sit in a room full of 10, 20 people that says, hey, what do you think about Red? How has he helped you? How has he done this?
And it's translated to more business for itself.
Tremendously amount of business.
You make more money and you're able to invest more in your businesses and real estate.
Yeah. And honestly, I got into the point where it's not even about investing more into that. It's investing into experiences and opportunities for my kids, right? Because that's all I'm thinking about now is how do I have enough financial passive income so that when I'm old enough, I can still travel the world with my wife. If my kids run into a financial circumstance where it's a bind, I can actually help them. But obviously, I'm not going to bombard them with free money here and there. I want them to learn. I want them to actually grow. I want them to actually be able to invest for themselves.
There's a word for this somewhere. Legacy.
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 But that's the biggest
son of a bitch.
That's the beauty of it, right? I mean, it's It's crazy how easy it is for us three to align because we have a very strong passion about that. We have a strong passion about the legacy that we want to build, the lifestyle that we want to create, and the vast opportunity that is there to do it in. As long as you have the right mindset, the right ethics, and the right knowledge behind you to have these conversations. Because like you were saying, crowdfunding, syndicating. How many people have you not seen on social media that act like gurus of being able to, hey, if you invest $1,000 with me, I'll give you $1,010 back. Like, and I guarantee that $1,010 back. You know, it's like it's cringeworthy, but again, it's the access of information out there and how they portray themselves, right?
Yeah, they don't know what they're talking about.
It's unfortunate because I can honestly tell you, if I sat in the room next to him or next to some of these people that are suited, wearing a Rolex, and they're talking all this gibberish and they drive off in their Lamborghini, the unfortunate pretenses from the people that are looking at us, they're going to think that guy's successful and I'm not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But that's why we have to talk about it. And that's why we have to get the word out. But yeah, I mean, that's, I can go on for hours on raising money. Hours. That's I think that's a natural progression of an agent. You come in, I mean, most of the time you don't have money, right? You're living paycheck to paycheck if there is a paycheck. And you have to find deals. And I think that point in your life is when you obviously have to represent buyers, sellers, leases, and then you're finding opportunities for yourself. Here and there, you'll find a property that needs a ton of work, and you're able to put it under contract or do a flip or something like that and get to that level. Once you've done enough of those, then you can do investments. You can invest in properties. You can build your portfolio. Maybe you can buy a business. You can grow that out. And then eventually, once you've built that experience and that knowledge, you get to a point where you can raise money from other people. And I think that's where we are right now. That's where we've raised over $1 million.
Still, yeah.
I've got another firm that we've raised about $1 million or $2 million there. That's the point where your experience and your knowledge can translate, because eventually you get to a point where you run out of your own money, right?
Your track history.
Yeah. So, but you have a track history. You can find the properties. You know what to do with the properties. You can take it to the next level. So do it.
And again, a lot of people don't talk about this, but being a real estate professional is expensive. Yeah. It costs a lot of money to have a real estate license. There's dues, there's fees, there's marketing fees. When you get a listing, you have to have the right marketing out there. You have to have the sign. You have to hire a photographer. I actually have history where I helped a client buy a house from an agent that was not even a professional, took pictures from his own phone. I could see their shadow on some of the pictures, right? Their arm,
those on MLS.
The arm in the restroom, like the mirror, their arm is there holding the phone.
Yeah.
We did absolutely nothing to the house. And the reason that my client bought this property is she wanted to move out to the outskirts of Inland Empire. And I told her, I said, hey, this is not where you want to live, but you're doing it for your kids. If, for God forbid, for whatever reason, something happens and you want to move back, this house has equity. But if we don't jump on it right away, there's going to be other agents like myself, which I'm hoping there is, that are knowledgeable that are going to see the opportunity on this. Let's offer full price. And she goes, oh, you don't want to negotiate? I was like, no. Offer full price. I guarantee you. And it was the only time I've been able to be very confident because of the knowledge that I have that you're going to get your money back if we decide to sell. Yep. 4 months later, we didn't do shit. We took better pictures. She didn't like the area, took better pictures, listed the property up, and she walked away with the $25,000 profit.
And the presentation's everything.
You know, and it was crazy to me because that's the type of thing that happens in this industry where you hire the wrong person just because they have a license and they don't do the right things.
Looks good on paper.
It sounds great. Most people hire people that are in their comfort zone.
Relatives.
You know, it's their friend or it's, you know, it's a referral.
Those agents are going to make it in this industry, and they're usually out, you know, a year or two. Well, I guess we did do a transaction with somebody who.
Well, that is because that's like a flipping business, and their brother-in-law is the guy who does the real estate for all their flips.
So they kind of pieced it together.
Yeah.
But again, it's lots of people don't talk about that part of the industry where it costs money to be a real estate professional. Holding your license, holding it at a brokerage, the marketing, the information you have to put out there, all those things, coaching, pretty much just having the conversations, right?
Yeah. Our goal is obviously for agents to make money, not only in the buying and the selling and the leasing, but all through all these other avenues that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
which again,
I mean, I guess we're
shameless plug.
On that. Yeah, go
shameless plug.
I'll do another shameless plug. I wrote a book recently called "Raising Money for Real Estate's for Raising money for real estate agents. Yeah, it's on Amazon. Check it out. If you message me, I'm happy to give you a free copy of it.
He'll sign it.
I'll sign it.
And he
I'll
can
take-
dance on TikTok for
I'll
it.
take some lipstick. I'll give you a big kiss.
You
on the front.
hashtag something about this book. Tom will dance for you on TikTok.
But no, I mean, like I said, shameless plug for us is check out our brokerage. I mean, we are agents that think outside the box and understand that there's more than just 2 avenues of making money with the real estate license. And we're not scared to share that information with all the agents that come on board with us and are able and willing and more than likely coachable to learn, right? Because the simple fact is we have all this knowledge, we have all this information. We're not shy, we're not scared to actually share it because we know that the business is so huge that there's enough money for everybody.
It's mutually beneficial. I mean, we're all
100%.
working together. You guys bring a deal into the office. Obviously, you benefit. You'll be able to represent the buyer, us, the seller. And once we flip it, you can represent on the other side as well. I mean, or if you want to be in the transaction and have equity, we've done that with agents as well. I mean, we want to create a win-win environment that you learn and you make money.
So in the end there, guys, there's a lot of ways to make money in real estate. We love to teach you all of them. If you want to come learn more from us in one of our classes or come right back here to the podcast or reach out to us on social media, we got your back. We will see you here next time on Agents After Hours. See ya.
Peace.
You guys.